Hi, my name is Michael. We're going to be talking about which fishing setup is right for you, um, especially if you're near saltwater. We're going to talk about kind of the big three that you'll probably see at your Walmarts or Bass Pro Shops near you. Um, Purchasing can be stressful if you don't do research prior, and a lot of people will just go make a purchase and then uh, make some mistakes while they're on the water, and we'll talk about those. The three poles that we're going to look at, you can see right behind me. We have a medium action, a light action, and then we have an offshore rod that you can see there. But we're going to talk about the rod to reel combo and which option would be right for you depending on how you are trying to fish your local waterways.
All right, as you can see, the one on the left is the offshore rod, and it has a massive reel on it, and the diameter, the thickness of that rod is just, it's bigger. This is meant for going miles and miles offshore to catch, massive hundreds of pounds fish, 500-pound grouper, things like that. With a pole that's built like that, you're not gonna get a lot of action, and you're not gonna be able to cast, so it's for dropping right down in front of you, not for making any cast inshore. The one in the middle is your medium action. This one will be better for inshore fishing. You can use it for casting artificial baits. I do all the time, but it's situational. If you go a light action, you'll get better action and a farther cast. But they all three have their benefits. We're gonna talk about those now.
All right, an offshore rod reel combo is something you want to avoid if you have family members who have an offshore boat or a boat club or means of going offshore. If there's no intention of this, you don't need something like this near a river, near a creek, in backwaters if it's brackish waters, which means a mix of salt and fresh water. This is strictly for dropping on top of reefs and just pulling up massive fish that you won't find in your local river, most likely. There may be some regions that are a little that could find some big grouper that this could be used for, but for 99% of us, this is not anything that you want to purchase unless you plan on taking a boat miles offshore. And if you're going to take a charter, they will always provide the setup, so it's not anything to worry about there. And this was the big one that we just looked at. So you want to avoid this. All right, the medium action setup. This right here is a star rod. This one is, a lot of people recommend them. They're expensive, but I'd probably say a little bit overrated. My dad gave me this one because the tip broke, but I got it fixed and just kept it. Right here I have a 4,000 reel on here. So this is great for throwing a circle hook and a live mullet or live shrimp out. Right now I have an artificial bait, as I said. I'll still throw fake baits with this sometimes. And what an ideal scenario would be is a circle hook right here, right? And a live bait, and then this is a medium action, so it's strong enough so when you get on a big redfish, a big snook or a trout, it can keep up with it, where a light action would definitely struggle. And the reel being a bigger one, so this being a 4,000, let's see if I can spin this to you. Being a 4,000, that means that the drag, I can tighten it more so it has less pull, right? So bigger reels can hold bigger rods can hold bigger reels, which is great for live bait, right? And then the final one would pretty much strictly be for throwing a little lure around. This is great for bass fishing, but also for, if you're just throwing a fake shrimp out on flats or throwing it up under some structure maybe. As you can tell, it's just super lightweight. Compared to the other ones, right? Small little reel on here. You could put a small like 2,500 compared to that 4,000, right? And the reason that you like something lightweight like this, if you're constantly casting, is it's heavy, right? If it's heavy, you're gonna get tired easier. And also, an important thing is this lightweightness means it's bouncy. So if we look at the tip here, right? If we start working it and it bounces more, that fake shrimp, right, it's gonna have more action. So a lightweight action pole will have more action, whereas you look at the bigger reels, the bigger rods, you try and move those around, they're stiffer, so they're not gonna have as much bounce, they're not gonna have as much flex. And with those, and with this kind of rod, you're gonna be able to make casts super accurate and a little bit more distance. All right. All right, let's talk about line, right? Right here, you're gonna see this is braided line. So you'll see it at Walmart and stuff, it'll say braid. It looks a lot different than what you'll see what's attached to it here. See how that's clear? You can see the one-to-one right there. So this one's clear and it's thicker, and this one is actual, braided line. You can see like where there's some fraying on it. You can see the little fibers, right? So you're going to want braid, depending on the size reel you have. The reel will tell you, 300 yards of 40-pound braid or 500 yards of 20-pound braid, right? It'll tell you specifically to which reel you buy on how much braid and what poundage you can put on it. But for inshore saltwater fishing, I do recommend braid. And then you can tie line to line, but that takes a while and I don't always recommend it. It takes some time. So you can tie it to a swivel like this, right? So they're connected by this swivel. This holds the braid end. This holds the clear end, which we call fluorocarbon leader. And then you have your hook or your lure, all right? Let's talk about a couple of different baits, and then I'll show you how to tie and put something together. Fake baits can go anywhere from, they call soft plastics, like this, soft plastic paddle tails, to, got your hard plastic. To anywhere like a the top water hard plastic. All right. And there's everything in between. This right here is a soft plastic that kind of looks like a mullet, right? So as you're bringing it along, you don't really need live bait if you know the fish are there. So yeah, and you have different kind of hooks. I love circle hooks for live bait, but it'll work for anything. Cut bait, things like that. So let's learn how to do a knot. All right, so just to recap, we've got braid tied to fluorocarbon. We're going to be replacing this lure here with this soft plastic with a topwater hard plastic. So first I'm going to cut this, and then I will show you a good knot to use. This knot will be perfect for tying to your swivel or tying to your lure / hook, all right? So first, you wanna make sure that you go through the circle at the top, right? That's it, we've just gone through it. Now I'm gonna overlap. So I'm gonna go just like that. That's all we have right there. All right. Spin this, you can count, depending on how thick the leader is, you can count 4 to 8 times. So I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4. We're gonna go 5 on this. Now I've twisted it 5 times. You can see there's still an opening at the bottom. We're gonna go through that. I'm gonna hold the end there that we came through, and then pull this side down to it. All right. Might go back on this soft plastic jig head when we go out onto the water here in a second. And yeah, let's go fishing. For artificial, I'm using a couple ounce jig head here with a paddle tail here on the back. And we're gonna fling this out and work it a little bit.